On Monday, January 27th, Needham residents packed the Broadmeadow School auditorium for a community meeting hosted by the Needham Heights Neighborhood Association. They shared with the town officials their concerns over the proposed zoning changes to the parcel where Muzi Ford and WCVB-TV are located. At the special town meeting in October, the Planning Board presented the proposal and it was voted down. The Planning Board is evaluating the possibility of carrying out a new proposal at this annual town meeting. Municipal producer Yusha Win has the details.
The meeting began with two presentations made by Planning Board member Ted Owens and Select Board member Marianne Cooley. Ted Owens suggested residents consider what could be coming to the site under current bylaws.
I think that the last thing we want is to have a manufacturing facility, a warehouse, a distribution center, or a strip mall at this corner.
Owens said the proposed zoning law gives the Planning Board more control over the future development through the special permit process.
So if we decide to bring something forward, we would want to put strict limitations on what could be developed as of right in an attempt to nudge a developer toward a special permit process. This gives the Planning Board leverage to negotiate certain improvements as part of the project.
Marianne Cooley stressed the commercial tax revenues it will raise to relieve property taxes.
They have given us a tremendous benefit that we've been able to deploy on the part of the town. And a lot of that benefit that we see, as I showed in the overrides, and what we've been able to do with building without an override, right, comes from the new growth that's occurred in our commercial tax base over the most recent years from the rezoning of Needham Crossing.
But the attendees were not convinced. Some residents doubted a developer's interest to put manufacturing facilities or warehouses there even under the current bylaws.
I do not share the fears of what you say could come there because I don't believe any of them are economically viable there. It's way too expensive for warehousing when if you go down to Avon or down, south a bit, you can get land for a fifth the cost.
They also questioned the urgency of the zoning changes if Muzi was not planning to move in the near future.
I'm not sure why the rush is to act on something that we might not have to act on for quite some time.
We need more open conversations like this. 12 weeks or so from now is town meeting, and that's not enough to go discuss the environmental issues, the quality of life issues, and the whole gamut.
Some residents expressed that the character of Needham was more important than tax revenues.
There has to be a trade-off, and you don't want to destroy the town for the purposes of a few dollars.
If all we care about is tax revenue, let's cut down the rest of the trees along 128. Seriously, if we do not protect those trees, they are going to be down someday. And the reason they're going to be down is because of tax revenue.
There were only a few supportive voices.
Make the change now to attract developers who are going to do this, rather than asking someone to come and start a total process amidst no special permit process.
The proposal submitted to the town meeting last October allowed greater densities and heights for commercial development, with a maximum height of 70 feet or roughly 5 stories, and shorter setbacks. But the participants at Monday's meeting wanted to see more environmental and residential-friendly uses.
I'm against going high in that area. I think it would ruin the neighborhood.
It's important now to set ambitious targets for open space, permeability, solar participation, designated EV spots. All of these build a new development.
I have seen the changes in the nature of what was a residential hometown. I don't want to see more impact on that.
A more concrete plan was also requested to help envision the gateway of Needham.
It makes a lot easier for me to vote on something that I know what I'm voting, concrete.
Let's put more thought into how we're going to define Needham. We heard ideas about environmental sustainability. Obviously, things can be worked in like that, but also think about certain uses. So it limits it and gives better rights if it's something that serves the town.
On Tuesday, January 28th, Select Board members shared their thoughts on the feedback from Monday's meeting.
Number one, sustainability. I think having whatever buildings are constructed there meet environmental standards in construction. Whether or not net zero is something to be discussed, I'm going to leave that to the planning board. I think having green space, less height.
Matt Borrelli suggested bringing in a consultant to work on the framework of the proposed zoning.
I think if we get someone to harness those ideas, and there are people there that we work with engineers and we work with consultants on harnessing these ideas and getting a vision. I think once we have that and an idea of what the massing and the scope of the property will be, I think that will drive us to that framework. We all agree we need a framework here. I just don't agree right now that this is the framework we should be operating under.
For the Needham Channel News, I'm Yu Xiaoyuan.